Welcome to the 90 Central podcast, where we discuss growing a business, working in media, and building a team that we love. I'm Will Stewart, CEO of 90 Central. I'm joined by two talented people today, the COO of 90 Central, Jen
Give me
Blair.
a promotion
Yeah, I was about to give you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Might as well just give it to you. Good to have you. And then Sarah Beth. So Sarah Beth's our producer and the latest and newest face here at 90 Central.
Correct.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, we are too. And you're not new to the role of producing. I'm going to say that. You have 20 years of experience, and you've done this a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually you were kind of the inspiration for what we wanted to talk about today, and that is how agencies can best work with and leverage production companies, right?
Yes.
So you've had 20 years of experience, mostly on the agency side. And so you know a lot about this topic, and you've seen kind of both sides of the coin now. So we wanted to give agency partners a couple of tips about how they can best work with us. And we love working with agencies. We love the ideas that they bring to the table and the opportunity that we get with them. So there's
a lot of different ways that agencies come to us, and there's a lot of different problems that we solve. A lot of times people come to us and say, like, hey, is there a cookie cutter cost for this? Can you just give us a number? But, there's different ways that agencies come to us. Some come more prepared than others. Some come with some pre-existing ideas. So I'm glad both of y'all are on the podcast. I'm glad, Sarah Beth, you're in our team and then on the podcast to discuss this. The first one is, think about your budget, like how that works. And budget's a big thing. Obviously, video production isn't necessarily the cheapest thing in the world to do. There's a lot of people, a lot of planning that needs to go on. But sometimes clients come to us maybe a little bit they've already have their numbers kind of in their head of what they want to spend and how they want to spend it. We can work with any budget that a client gives us within reason. But we like to know the numbers ahead so we can help. We want to be partners with the vendors and the people that we work with. Not just we're not just in it for the money.
For the money, right. And I mean, you've been on the creative side of an agency too, and you know how concepting can happen and how it can work. And so it's great to come to the table with ideas and to know what that concept is going to be. But what we can do is kind of help refine that and let you know what's possible, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, as an agency producer, and not every agency has an agency producer. And sometimes it just depends on the size, or just the roles they have in there, and if video is something they do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But having that experience, I've been given budgets, and this is what we have to work with, and here's our concept, and then you have that, or at least having a budget range. There's nothing wrong with that, but one thing that was always important to me was to never refer to anyone external that I work with as a vendor. To me, they were partners.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, you're great at your job," and yes, I appreciate the compliments and can do certain things, but I am nothing without the people I partnered with and the businesses and companies I partnered with.
Yeah.
So that was always, those are the people that make me look good.
Yeah.
So,
that's good.
I tried to keep that in the back of my mind always and look to them for advice, or what do you think about this was always a question I'd ask.
And a good partner is going to help guide you towards success, right? And so you're there as you're having a job. If you're an agency producer, you're having a job to go and find how can you make this creative come to life? How can you get the best product that you can? And so by talking to us ahead of time, we can kind of evaluate your concept. This is something that we do all day, every day, especially with, maybe higher end graphics, or even just, a bigger script with more of a storyline. Like if we see that there's several locations in it, that's probably going to cost a lot of money because it's going to take a lot of time to move to a bunch of different locations, assuming that they're drastically different. So by coming to us beforehand with those ideas, we can help say like, okay, this is going to be an excessive budget. You might want to tweak this concept or change it in this way to get the same effect, but for a much more reasonable cost.
Right. Yeah. And just, we're just specialists. And so we know, and then not even, some agencies will work with different video production companies, but all video production companies are specialists. And so trust their advice. Get somebody you can trust and you can see as a partner, to your point, and then let them kind of guide you in the final 10% of figuring out what that budget should be.
Yep, the production company is the expert, just the same way that, as I did print production, the printers are the experts, and I was not afraid to ask questions and need that guidance because a lot of people say, I want to hit 4 or 5, 6 locations and we have a 1-day shoot. And you have to realize, like, not only is there the shoot time, but we know the time it's going to take to set up and break down the equipment and the lighting to get, just that right
Look
and feel, like to make that vision come to life. And so those are the things where we've just, may have to say, if you want to do this in one day, we may need to cut back. So again, just talking to us is so important.
And even beyond that too, it's like, what about the people that are going to be involved? What about your talent? Getting them ready, getting them in makeup. If we're doing all of these things, it's hard to make the space in the day to hit all of those locations sometimes so effectively.
Wardrobe changes, everything. It all adds up. Minor details is an oxymoron. Right. So you hear me say all the time.
And, we got to eat. So
exactly.
make time for food.
Happy cast and crew.
Nah, don't feed the crew.
Happy day.
They work better when they're hungry and mad. All right, so that's that. Next is roles and responsibilities. So that's one that people should consider, agencies should consider as they're coming to us.
Absolutely. Again, as an agency producer, I've taken on the role of, hey, can you find talent in working within a budget that we've been given to take on certain tasks? So whether it's somebody coming to you and saying the client has a location in mind, we've got friends and family, and they're going to let us use their home, or you need help writing a script or the concepting, just to get a good estimate, really being clear about what you want to take on yourself versus having your production partner do. And while it may seem like you're saving money, like say, we'll find the talent, we'll source the talent. And I'm using this as an example. I mean, that's all well and good, but, because this is what we do all day, every day, we have these resources, whether it's people we've used in the past and can go to directly and save on agency fees. And we do have a lot of agency contacts. So, we're able to source talent maybe a little bit faster or negotiate better because we kind of know the ins and outs and why certain rates are given based on the usage. So in the long run, you may get more bang for your buck by actually letting us help you with that.
Right.
I mean, and that's just a small example, but, just to really talk through those details to get an accurate quote and really what's going to be most efficient given your timeline. I mean, there are so many reasons to take this kind of stuff into consideration.
Yeah.
The talent one is a great example too, because, again, we do this all day, every day. We do many productions and we've seen a lot of different scripts come to life in different ways. And so we kind of have a Rolodex of people that work well. And if we see your concept, sometimes immediately it's like, this person is going to work for that. And so you can save yourself a lot of time and headache by, it may feel like, oh man, that's another pre-pro cost or that's another line item on my bill. But ultimately you're saving yourself kind of the headache of somebody else on the team putting in those billable hours to find those things when maybe we could do that much quicker for you. So.
Exactly.
I've literally booked people while on a call with a client. I just texted this person. I was like, this person would be fantastic for it. This is what you should do. Texted the person, said, are you available this date? And they're like, yes. And I was like, what's your rate? They told me, and I told the client right there. So there's ways that we can just some of our contacts are just a click away.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with locations. Like I said, somebody may have a client who's willing to open up their workspace, their home, and sometimes then say, well, how long would you be here? How many people might be here? And when they find out, it could be, if it's a full day shoot and you're there 8 hours, possibly 10 with all the setup and breakdown or how many people might be in their home, that makes them a little comfortable. And that's okay. But if they don't understand what's going into it, they may want to change it. So again, we have a network of resources. We have our own studio, but other things and people we can reach out to for different spaces because, been doing this for so long.
So the big takeaway, I think, is don't be biased against just keeping it all in-house.
Yeah.
At least ask some questions,
right.
Because we might not know, if you need a one-armed juggler, I might not have somebody that can do that.
But we know a guy who knows the guy.
But, there might be some contacts that we have that we can just help make things easier.
Yeah. Don't let the line item scare you. You got to think long-term. It's a marathon. It's not that moment. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So our last thing is letting us weigh in on the script.
Yeah.
This is your world.
I think concept in general, right? Agencies often have copywriters on staff. They often have art directors. They often have, a partnership and a room full of people that are concepting on an idea that can then be brought into a script. A lot of agencies also don't specialize in video, and they don't do it a lot. Maybe that our copywriter is very familiar with writing billboards or collateral or web copy or something. And it's a bit of a mental shift to turn that into a script. And so if you give that to the production company, let them review it. Have an open mind that we can help you figure out how to best translate something into video.
Yeah.
And as somebody who writes a lot of the scripts, like it can kind of feel unnatural sometimes. You have this picture of a perfect script in your head and it's flowing great, but sometimes it feels not right on paper, but it turns out great on video. And so letting the experts who do this in and out kind of give you some guidance and say, you know what, that might not look right, that might not work well.
Yeah.
That will save you so much money.
It really will.
Yeah, and heartache on set, and just watching it come together like in real life,
Yeah, and we've had clients before who said, "This is our script. It is sacred. Do not touch it." And so, okay,
that's
that's fine. We
fine.
respect that. But if we can give a little bit of feedback, we can help you meet your goals better. Well, I remember one script that I got one time. It was a night scene, and then it was raining for some reason, and it seemed like it was just a nice thing where it's like, okay, they want night in the rain, but the logistics and the cost to get rain machines, find a place at night, then all the exterior lighting we'd have to do, like to show the rain.
Yeah.
Like, they're just all that was a very expensive, two sentences.
Yeah.
And so I gave him feedback. I said, hey, this is fine. If you want us to do this, we can do it. I don't see how this is necessarily advancing your script other than it's a nice to have,
Right.
It'd be cool,
Right.
And they were like, oh, great, thank you. And we were able to just like really drastically cut their budget.
Right. There's another one I can think of that came to mind where it was just like a concept where this thing was kind of being passed around. And it's like, okay, we need a wide establishing shot of this and then a close up on the hands and moving it here. And they're in this building and now it's going here. And the way that the script was moving was just so intense and chaotic. And there was probably like 40 shots in a 30-second commercial. And it's like, yeah, no. Oh, and that's the other thing. Y'all, read your script out loud. Time it. Think through what is happening in that moment. You have to picture it in your head. You have to do it visually. Get out your phone timer and time it and read it out loud and just kind of think like, do I need to slow down here? Is this supposed to be fast? There's a lot of times where we've run into scripts where hey, this is supposed to be 30 seconds and it's reading at a minute. Yeah. And so there's tricks that you can do to make sure that you're actually hitting that 30-second spot and thinking through, okay, if I need to cut this down into a 15, can I do that? How will that work? Is this dialogue going to be delivered in a certain way that allows for an easy cut down? That's probably like a huge thing. I think that a lot of pre-written scripts come to us being overly long.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good point because you mentioned the cut down, social media just has changed the landscape. We're not just producing a commercial for a 30-second or 60-second commercial that's going to be on broadcast. I mean, you have the OTT and social media cuts and, bumper ads. And so we're, more and more we're being asked, can you take this video and cut it into a 60 and a 30, 4 15s and 5 6s.
We've had a 6.
Yeah.
So.
I like 6s.
I have done many 6s in my time. But I mean, so that's, which raises another question. Are you writing original scripts or really want to cut it down? Because then you have to figure out how to make that work.
And that impacts your production.
Exactly.
And if you need to get different delivery or you need to get a different shot, we recently did a shoot for a vacuum cleaner company where we had to make sure that delivery was caught in a different way because it wasn't going to work in the cut down. Mm-hmm. It can really, we had a recent one that didn't work in the cut down at all. And that one it wasn't planned for, where they were just like, hey, let's cut this down. And it just did not work. Yeah. And so, you got to think through all those little pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's, your production company should know to ask you these questions beforehand. In our process, it's one of the biggest things that we ask is, okay, where is this going to be placed? And how many versions of it do you need? Do you need 30s? Do you need 15s? Do you need 10s? Do you need 5s? 6s, whatever they are. But
so many different things.
6, 7, 8.
And I think that the theme is just whoever you use as a production company, see them as a partner.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions and get their advice. And we want our clients to be successul, and I know all production companies do. And it's like you want to work really hard for them. So give us those tools and trust, and it'll turn out right well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what are you guys digging, Sarah Beth? What you digging today?
My digging. Let's see. well, obviously I love podcasts. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. Jen actually probably is on the really, I watch documentaries, but she's
Sorry.
she's the one that really got me into some of the true crime podcasts that were out there. And I had stumbled on one that I really enjoyed that was produced by CBC Radio. The stories aren't necessarily familiar to me, but as I've, you hear ads for other podcasts. So just driving back from a, 6-hour trip, I downloaded some other new ones, or new to me, from CBC Radio and just true crime. And it made the time go by so fast.
Nice.
And there are stories you don't hear on the news because they're not necessarily covered in the U.S. And so I found a new one and called Uncover. And they're probably at like 18 seasons right now, but I am only on season 4, 5. But I mean, I'm listening to them even in my 10-minute drive to work. I'm getting in as much as I can, as fast as I can, because I'm obsessed. So just if you want something different, if you're into true crime podcast, check out CBC Radio. It's not something you would normally think of, but
that's Canadian,
check it out.
right?
Yes,
okay.
Canadian broadcast.
So very
company.
polite murders.
No.
They ask first if they can kill you.
Can I kill you, a lot of impalements by mooses.
Oh.
Moose.
So that's kind of been my thing lately.
That's cool.
Nice.
Jen?
It is playoff hockey season time.
Oh.
Yes.
Man.
So
Who do you root for?
Penguins, of course.
Well, I knew that, but our audience
Oh,
doesn't
that's
know.
right.
Am I allowed to boo?
Are you allowed to boo?
can
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby is really good at hockey.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, granted. But anyway, yeah, it's been great. I was telling, I can't remember, I think it was John. There was this great moment on Saturday's game where the Pens scored and they were showing crowd shots. And this poor sweet guy who tried to go and kiss his girlfriend, wife, random person sitting next to him, whatever. And she just pushed him away right on TV. It was great. It was a meme immediately. I immediately ran to Twitter and was like, oh my gosh, who's talking about this? Somebody had to see that. And of course, the internet provided. So it was
good.
Yes.
So how hardcore of a fan are you? Are you a put the jersey on, scream at the TV?
Yeah, I have a jersey with like signatures on it. I was one of the people that used to go and like stand when the players were like leaving. But since being in the South and not having like I didn't always have like games on TV for me. Like they didn't get streamed or whatever I have. I couldn't watch them the way I used to. And like not being able to go to the games is different. I miss going to hockey games so much. So I'm a little bit more removed from it, but I try to just kind of like keep up with the news. But now that playoffs are happening, I'll watch it. So,
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you? What are you digging?
I am digging this. This Juanita. For the people who are listening via podcast, you're missing this. This is our new mannequin, Juanita Light.
Yes.
Is her name.
What is her purpose?
So it's for we do training with lights, and our team works. Get her in the middle there. Our team works on lighting, how to shape light, and we just kind of like talk about that together as a team. We spend like 2 times a month. Work on that a couple hours. So we needed someone. We always have someone like sit in and just like do work. Like they'll be like answering an email.
It's like, hey, look up.
Look up. But it's nice just to have a mannequin where we can shape light and train our team. So yeah.
And on that note, random aside, if you're listening to this, you can also watch us on Facebook.
Yes.
You can watch us on YouTube. Chaos ensues sometimes on screen, but you can't hear it. So
That's right. Exactly.
it's a journey. You should watch.
Yeah, exactly. You miss Juanita, so log in and check her out. Well, this was fun. This was a good discussion. I enjoyed chatting with you guys about this.
Likewise.
Yeah. So if you are an agency and you're looking for a video production partner, give us a shout. Yeah. You can find us at 98c.org or 98c.tv. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. All the places.
All the things.
Where all the cool kids are.
Yeah, of course. Always. Cool.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening and watching. We'll see you next time. Welcome to the 90 Central Podcast, where we talk about growing a company, building media, working with the people that we... Okay, I'm going to reset. What? What did I say?
Company.
Is this going to be the outtake, AJ?
There's going to be so many outtakes.
Welcome to the 90 Central Podcast, where we discuss growing a business.